How to get a black border in any map. Now there are many maps in BCD6 and there's a lot of black borders out there to get. So I'm going to try and go through my strategy when I try and black border a map, and this works loosely for every single map, although the later ones are definitely a lot harder. Starting the game in itself will already give you a few of the bits of knowledge you're going to need, but the game's quite a big, broad subject, and there's a lot you need to learn. So soon coming there will be a video on how to begin or how to start BCD6, but this is kind of going to play off that as if you've already started playing the game and you're just trying to black border maps now. Number one, and very much the easiest part of this, is to beat every map on easy. I think it's very important for you to get an understanding of every map before you play it, and also the start of a game is the most important part. It sets you up for the rest of your game, and especially, buying towers, which are very useful, and buying towers that don't cost much at the start of the game. For a lot of game modes you're going to need to farm, and one of the biggest parts about farming is the fact that you need to use as little money as you can early on so you can start farming quicker. I mean, this is also coinciding and getting a bit of knowledge and leveling up your person, because even though easy is not great for leveling up, if you do it on every map you will indeed get a few levels, and more knowledge the better. With that out of the way, we can move on to part 2, and that is to unlock every tower in the game. I wouldn't worry about paragons. Paragons are a bit hard, but you should really have every tower unlocked. And on top of that, you should use every tower. I mean, it's very important to know. A lot of people go through the game not having a tower unlocked, and if you need it, you need it. If you don't need it, you don't need it, but you won't know until you use it. I have tier lists on my channel where you can see if a tower's good or bad, but I really can't give you that understanding of each tower in the game. A quick side note, this actually doesn't take as long as people think. I'd really go for hard mode on some hard maps, but some easy hard maps like Cornfield can really give you a lot of XP. That's just a little side note though. My final easy piece of advice is to learn each game mode. You have quite a few game modes to go through: easy, primary, deflation, medium, reverse, military, apocalypse, hard, ABR, impossible, magic only, double HP mobs, half cash and chimps. But on top of that, you need to understand what each game mode is. Let me explain what I mean by that. Primary, military only, magic only, they all make sense. No one's confused about what that is. But things like deflation, apocalypse and ABR are all very different game modes. You can also say double HP mobs and half cash are very simple, so really focusing on those 3 game modes will really help you beat a black border. Number 4, and the chunk of the video, is about each game mode and how I suggest to beat them. So let's start. First of all, you always have to beat every map on easy, like I said. And then you've got primary, deflation after that. Primary should be just as easy as easy. Deflation is a little bit different, so you get 20 grand, you should know this, and you need to get from round 30 to round 60. There's no tough rounds in those rounds, to be honest. 49 can be a little bit tricky, but you already have everything you're going to have for round 60, so you just need to work out 59 with camo LEDs, and then just some good Moab damage doers and regular damage doers. You really find one strategy that works for you once and it'll work for you on all of them. Something I recommend is an AUK buffed and village camo buff, never miss targeting. This does a lot of damage and is global, so it works on really any map, and then you can add whatever else you need on top of that. If you've done deflation, you should understand how to do medium. Just going up to round 60, pretty much the same, and you'll have more money. Reverse is the exact same, so I won't go into that. And military should be a use of towers and understanding of military towers that you should have learned by, just playing a few games. Military towers are very strong, and I don't think they cause much of a problem. The only hiccup I really could see you having, and it's not a light hiccup, is the fact that there's not much camo in military. Well, there is, but it's a bit more obscure to get. I'd recommend either getting your plane or helicopter in camo, but if you have water, your camo should be completely fine, either using a sub or a buccaneer, which can both see camo pretty easily. Now we move on to one of the hardest game modes you'll face so far, and that is Apocalypse. Apocalypse is a tough game mode. Apart from the balloons spawning straight away, a little thing you have to know is that it goes all the way up to round 80. Now this doesn't actually have any real world bearing because all the rounds are different anyway, and this is the first game mode you're going to have that. However, knowing that it goes up to round 80 is important because we're going to have ZOMGs. They're the hardest Moab you're going to have to fight so far, and apart from that, it's the rounds that are different to regular hard mode that will trip you up. Now, off the top of my head, 76 is one of the hardest rounds, but I can't exactly be sure. But you have a heavy ceramic and light Moab rush, and you'll get Moabs, leads, and camos earlier. So how do you beat Apocalypse then? Well, you need camo and lead pretty early on, and there's multiple ways to do that, find that out yourself. But you're also going to need a heavy amount of Moab damage. I recommend Tac Zone, but you can also use Permacharge, a very popular choice. But there's a million towers that can do it. You also need camo damage, which more glaives is a pretty good option, but really this is going to test your skill and tower understanding more than any other game mode. Another side note in this one is that Benjamin's also a very good option because you don't get end of round cash. Benjamin actually does get end of round cash though, so if you do struggle making money early on and then getting to the farming stage, if you are going to farm, Benjamin can be a good shout. Now we're here to where it actually matters. Hard ABR, Impossible, Magic Only, Double HP Mobs, Half Cash and Chimps. Hard mode is just a Impossible but actually slightly easier. I'd say if you can do Apocalypse, you can do hard mode. Magic, Monkey Only and Double HP Mobs is a very simple game mode and you should be able to figure them out yourself. Obviously you should know what does good damage against Moabs and you can use it for Double HP Moabs. Magic towers are very strong, I'd say, and that actually makes it quite easy to do Magic Only hard mode. But they're not the game modes that trip people up, so let's get ready. ABR. ABR is one of the most overhyped game modes ever, and a lot of people starting find it hard. I found it hard when I started as well. So what you need to remember is, you need to kill camos very early, you need to kill leads very early, you need to kill camo leads very early. Apart from that, it's fairly easy. Plus the reinforced Moabs. So how do you kill camo and leads and camo leads very early? Well, there's two things. You can use a ninja, you can use a hero, or you can use a sniper. Very simple. I'd always recommend if your hero can't kill camo leads to obviously get a hero either that can or to use a sniper with lead and camo abilities. Now hero wise, you should always at least have a hero that can hit either camo or leads. I wouldn't recommend Oben though, I'd recommend camo first because leads can be popped by the sniper, but camos come pretty much all the time, and if your hero can't see camo, that's a little bit of a problem. Moving on to probably the next easiest game mode is Impossible. Now this is going to be your first level 100, and also the prices are going to be higher than normally expected. But what makes Impossible so different is always going to be that round 100. So you can kill hard mode, you can probably kill hard mode with the Impossible prices at that point, but what do you need to do but kill DDTs? Now, the most simple thing to kill DDTs is a Prince of Darkness, in my opinion. However, Permacharge and Tac Zone linked with a MIB so that they can all hit leads, even though Tac Zone, you know, you can use it for other things. But those ceramics that come out of round 98 and also the DDTs around 95, a Prince of Darkness really deals very well with them. And if you are having problems with round 98 and round 95, I'd always recommend a Prince of Darkness. If you want help with Impossible or Chimps, just coming up in a second, I'm going to link a video in the description and show it on screen. It's a very, very good video. Massive props to the person who made it. This will help you massively and it's very interesting, so go give it a watch. But don't watch it yet because you haven't killed your first bad. If you have killed your first bad, well then, well done. But if you haven't killed your first bad, we're still there. Now a bad needs single target damage, but tack zones and perma charges do very good against them. However, elite defender and other towers are better against single target damage. So really find out what you like for single target damage. There's many different ways to kill a bad, and a bad isn't actually that scary. Really try it out yourself, kill a couple bads, maybe try it in free play. You'll see that the bad really isn't that hard, and you'll get through it in no time. So now you've done this, you have half cash and chimps to go. Now I'd recommend half cash next because chimps is a little bit different. Half cash being hard mode with half the cash actually causes a lot of problems for people, including me. Now you need to basically use efficient towers, but you don't need to worry about DDTs now. So efficient towers being tack zone, but more importantly overdrive. So some people go all the way to tack zone, but a lot of people just stay on overdrive. Another thing is killing the round 40 Moab, and any other Moab after that can be quite a bit harder with the less cash, because normally you can just overdo it. But once you find out this, I have tutorials on my channel about how to kill half cash on Monkey Meadows, but this can be applied to any other maps. If you do need help with, you know, specific towers that are very efficient and very good for half cash, always look them up. I can give you a few on screen now, but I'd always recommend watching a more in-depth tutorial. Maybe I'll do one myself on half cash in all its intrinsic properties. And after you've found out all of those properties, we have chimps just left. Now remember, for all of the previous ones you can leave the game and restart. For chimps you cannot. You'll get a red border and no one wants a red border. So to get a black border, and how I'd always recommend, is just a basic chimp strategy. Now there's many chimp strategies, including the video I showed you earlier, but we have the druid strategy, and they will beat chimps most of the time. Apart from that though, chimps actually isn't that hard. You have a set amount of cash, and you just need to figure out the best way to spend it. If you can beat round 40 efficiently, that's always a best shout, but a hero is very important here. Because you can't farm, can't use continues, 1 life, no knowledge. There's a lot of things that come into play. My main recommendation for chimps is to play the game looking forward. So you're always looking around 63, 68, 78, not 68, and 95, 98, DDTs, bads, making sure that you've prepared for the future, because you don't have the money, you can't sell. You need to build your team and how you're going to do it with more of a plan that you've started with. But again, I can't go too in depth in that now. Check out the videos I linked, and either look at another chimps tutorial. I have chimps tutorials, I have popple tutorials, but this is how to do it yourself, very loosely. I'm going to try and do a more in-depth tutorial on each map or each game mode, but until then, thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.